When planning for reciprocal teaching, you have to start out slow and take it a step at a time. Some really good things. There's really some good activities. Some of the spas to practice questioning and predicting and clarifying and summarizing. I start out with that kind of as individual activities. And then I move into putting all of the skills together. So like we may spend 3 weeks on questioning and then a couple of weeks on predicting and then just gradually kind of add in until they're proficient at all 4 strategies. As far as setting it up in the classroom, lots of modeling in the beginning. As far as how to ask good questions, how to make good predictions. Summarizing is one that you really have to spend an awful lot of time on because they want to give you every single detail from the text. And you have to work on narrowing that down. And then predicting, you have to do some lessons as far as predicting with a narrative text and predicting with nonfiction and how that would be a little different, and techniques for nonfiction like looking ahead at the charts and graphs and things. Setting it up in my classroom, I usually start out with maybe a group in the front with me kind of doing a fishbowl type of activity where I serve as the role of teacher, but then I have the kids be a part of the group and let the rest of the class watch so that they actually see how the group will be set up, and then kind of moving them away from each other, setting up space in the classroom so that they can move out on the floor and keep distance between them. And it takes a lot of practice. They need lots and lots of practice. It doesn't just happen overnight. Today, I thought that we would look at an article on the Olympics. How many of you have been watching the Olympics on TV? Look at page 34. It says, on the fast track. Everyone should be looking at this page. In the front, there is the U.S. athlete named Apollo Ono. There's a really interesting story about him in here, and I want to use that with you. And then in your groups, you're going to look at some of the other Olympic athletes.
After Rhonda reads the article in Sports Illustrated for Children, she describes and models each of the reciprocal teaching strategies: questioning, clarifying, summarizing, and predicting. She then explains to the class how they will proceed with their articles.
Okay, on page 38, beginning on page 38, there are 6 athletic events. Okay, I have them listed on the board. There's skiing, snowboarding, figure skating, speed skating, ice hockey, and then there's some other sports that are not quite as well known. What I want you to do, go ahead and look at snowboarding on page 40. Now, what's really cool about this article, we've been studying reference and research skills, and there are a lot of charts, there are a lot of graphs. Notice on page 41, there's a comparison. They're comparing the U.S. athlete to the athlete from another country. So that's kind of interesting. Now, when you're reading in your groups today, this is how I want you to tackle this because it's not like a straight story. Tackle it in sections. So, for example, if Rhiannon is the teacher first, she would read this first paragraph. Okay, then she would ask her question, she would have them clarify, she would summarize, and then she would predict what she's going to do next. And then the next person who becomes the teacher would read the other little article at the bottom.
At this point in Rhonda's lesson, she places the children in groups and assigns them an article to read. The children read and dialogue together, while Rhonda provides support.
What was happening on this page was, it was telling us, because earlier it was saying that she pushed it, and then it said, she pushed it even farther, and she got, gold medals, and she went to the winter eggs camp.
And what does this tell you about her as a person?
That she's, real key. She loves the sport, and she wants to keep on going on, and she'll get real famous.
Okay. She's a determined person then. She's set her goals high, and she has a really positive attitude, and she's working really hard.
Rhonda's lesson concludes by having the students share things of interest from their reading. She explains how this information will be used as they continue the lesson tomorrow.
So just real quick, I want you to share a couple of things that you found to be really interesting in the article that you read. Tell me something interesting about speed skating, or share with the class what you found.
Most of the people that are speed skaters, they started at a young age, so when they get older, they'll be really good. And men, when they have to do 8 laps, and women, they have to do 6 laps.
And this group had some discussion about why the men got to do 8 laps and the women only had to do 6. All right, now let me kind of give you a heads up about what we'll be doing with this tomorrow. I purposely had you read different sections today because we've been working on comparison and contrast, and there's a couple of ways that we're going to use this. Most of your sports had a comparison between the USA athlete and then an athlete from another country. So we're going to be looking at these charts further tomorrow. Also, you're going to do a little presentation for the class with some of the charts and graphs and some of the most important information. You're actually going to teach the class about your article, okay? Reciprocal teaching is not something else to do. It's just what a good reader does. And I want my kids to just naturally do those 4 strategies when they read. That's my whole focus. So it's not another thing for teachers to add to their list of things to do, but it becomes a part of your whole classroom.